friends, welcome to Bookish Bliss, our virtual book club. Every week we will dig into a section of chapters in our favorite books. Let's get started.
Hey book besties, and welcome back to Bookish Bliss for episode 104. We have a lot to discuss today.
We are continuing our journey through Sarah J. Maas's Kingdom of Ash, and this week it is all about chapters 45 to 60, so you don't have to read the entire book, but you do need to be caught up on the chapters we're covering because we are going full spoiler mode. I think I get more ridiculous every time I do that.
I love it.
Amanda, darling, what are you drinking tonight?
Darling, first I need to get my protein in again.
Yes, darling.
Need the 30 grams. I see abs coming in. But, darling, I have a surprise for you. They changed their can. Ginger lime mule.
I don't know if I like it.
You know what is crazy? I swear it tastes different.
It probably is.
I legit researched, and it's not. It's just a change of the can. At least my research has proven that it's not true.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start with protein tonight, and then I'm going to rip into that bad boy later because I'm going to be thirsty for everything we have to say tonight.
Lots to say. Lots happened.
Lots. What are you drinking tonight, darling?
Well, there was no ginger lime mule in my store.
Oh, no.
But they did have my tried and true bubbly. So
Megan and her bubbly.
I will be drinking that this evening.
It's going to be a great night.
Oh, yes, darling. And I feel a little nauseous for my shot today.
Oh, no, darling.
I know. I did not get enough protein. That's what happens when you don't eat your protein. You get nauseous.
Gotta eat the protein.
So I shoved lunch down my throat. I shoved dinner down my throat. I did not eat breakfast, and that's why I'm nauseous.
I did not eat dinner yet, but I will after.
Good, darling. Cheers to episode 104 of Bookish Bliss and part 4 of Kingdom of Ash. Cheers.
Cheers, darling.
Amanda, darling. What is your bookish news since Saturday?
Since Saturday, I've just read The Wolf King and finished her. Great book. Love that book.
Yay.
Obsessed. And we're doing the next book for book club in May, so Megan will get a chance to read the first one still. And the second one.
Yay.
I told the whole book club to give you shit for missing.
No one has given me any shit yet.
Wow. What the fuck, guys? Amy, you said you would.
I was texting with her earlier and she did not give me any shit.
Wow.
Well, we had been texting privately on the side, about other things, so.
I was obviously just joking.
No, I know.
I thought they would joke too, but I guess not. I'm the only funny one in the book club.
I'm dead. That's so funny. Well, my bookish news is I have no bookish news because I have not finished anything since Saturday.
Oh no, darling.
I finished a section.
There you go. You know what? That was a crazy section, so.
Yeah.
And you did it since Saturday.
Yeah.
That's record time for us.
That's
for
so
reference,
fast for
it's
me.
Tuesday.
Yes, it's Tuesday. That is quick for us. Well, because I felt really bad about the week before, so I wanted to be on time this week.
You did it, darling.
I did it, but I listened to a couple more chapters of The Heir Apparent, and I started Mate today. I just am like, am I in a reading slump? And then I started listening to Mate, and I was like, no, I like this.
I don't think you're in a reading slump. I think you're just busy, and when you're home, you're tired. So you have to pay attention to books.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to, but what's the point if you don't?
Yeah. Oh, and I got my nails done today. The green is gone. I got a cute little flowers for spring.
Now she's Glinda.
Yeah.
I love it.
I was like, this will look nice with the... Just kidding.
Let's get started with the good stuff and break down part 4. Starting with me and ending with you, darling.
Hell yeah.
I actually love starting and not having to finish. I'm pissed next week. I have to do both.
I'm so happy. But then the next week, right, is me? No. Last episode.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think there's 1 or 2 in between. How crazy we're already on part 4. We're officially right over halfway.
Why did I think I said, 4 more episodes, not including final
Yeah.
thoughts after this one.
That's crazy.
I know.
Crazy. In the back half of Kingdom of Ash. Darling, we better get started so we can go read it.
Well, yeah, as we can see from just previous weeks before, this is like
Yeah.
the whole
Every
time.
chapter, no fillers here.
Yeah.
Even the chapters are like multiple point of views too,
Mm-hmm.
which is really giving us the full story here. Full picture.
Here we
Love it.
go. Let's
Here we
kick some
go.
ass.
Hell yeah.
Marath's ass.
That's right. Chapter 45. At dawn on the sixth day, the battle for Eniel raged on with no sign of slowing. The city had endured nearly a week of restless assault, with only brief respites at night. Irene worked nonstop in the healing tents, refusing to dwell on how many had fallen, though the endless stream of wounded told her the truth. Supplies were dwindling, healers were exhausted, and every time she glimpsed Kale, he was limping worse, covered in black blood, yet never once asking her to conserve her magic. When Arisha arrived with news of a ruck rider on the brink of death, she also gently confronted Irene about her pregnancy, something everyone seemed to know except Kale. Irene admitted she hadn't told him, not wanting to burden him in the middle of a siege. On the walls, Kale braced himself in his chair atop a horse, watching Marath's forces push closer. He felt Irene's strain in his spine and prayed she was far from danger. Nesrin, Sartak, and the Ruckin fought fiercely overhead, though exhaustion was setting in after 5 brutal days. Siege towers reached the walls, spilling soldiers into the keep, and Kale rallied his men with a fierce speech, reminding them the Valg had once been mortal and could still die like the mortals. They are the people of Aniel, and they need to show them all what that means. He vowed he would not fail his wife or their unborn child. Above, Nesrin and the Ruckin battled relentlessly, killing 2 Val commanders and aiming for a third when a cry rose from the east. Hazar and the Dargan cavalry had arrived, charging into Marath's flank. Even with the reinforcement, the Valg did not break, and the Kagan forces eventually pulled back to regroup. Nesrin flew Kale and Irene to the War Council tent, where the Kagan's children awaited. They had barely begun strategizing when the tent flaps opened, and someone Kale never expected stepped inside.
Oh,
You
shoot.
have no idea the excitement when I read the end of this chapter. I flew through my notes for this. I'm actually surprised they're that detailed because I typed them so fast to finally see them reuniting Kale
Yeah.
and Irene. I just
know.
was like, oh my God, I cannot wait to read about that. But before we get there, we have a ton already going on.
Yeah, and 2 crazy chapters before we even get there.
Literally insane. So we're in our 6th day of battle, and it is raging with no sign of ending whatsoever. The supplies are dwindling, the healers are exhausted, and Kale is limping worse because, once Irene is healing people, he's losing his ability to walk.
Mm-hmm.
Things are not going that great. But they haven't fully been able to get beyond the gates yet, so they're in the midst of it.
Yeah.
Thank God for Hazar and her cavalry show up and start attacking.
Yes.
Even though it doesn't really slow them down much, but at least it gives them hope, that
Yeah.
things are going to be good.
They needed that
eventually.
relief.
Yeah. So they have the Rucks up top. They have Hazar coming from one direction. They have an Aniel men one direction. This is a fierce fucking battle already.
Yeah. And this is like day 6.
Yeah.
So they're exhausted.
And Kale has to give a speech saying, "We are the people of Eniel. Show them all what that means."
Yeah, battle war. I want a sword. I want to kill people.
Yeah, he obviously knows about the pregnancy, even though Irene doesn't know he knows because of his dad.
Yeah.
So he is just like, I will not fail my wife and I will not fail my unborn child.
Never.
Never. That's my man. Eventually, the battle dies down for the night, and it's not over for our crew. They are going to meet and discuss strategy. So Nesrin flies Kale and Irene to the War Council tent where all the Kagan children await that are here. I don't think Cashin's here yet.
No.
So it's just Hazar, Sartak, Borte, and that's it, right?
Yeah. Well, even though she's not technically a Kagan child.
Borte?
No.
Oh, no, yeah, so
She's
she's
like
not in the war.
Sartok's like sister.
Yeah, she's from the Ruckin side. Sorry, I forgot about that for a second. So there's only 2 of the children in there right now. And somebody walks inside, and we all know who that is, but we gotta wait a couple chapters till we get there.
Yes. Okay, chapter 46. Adian's army reaches Pernath, choosing the frozen lake outside the city as the place they will make their final stand. The Whitethorn royals and their warriors are nearly spent after days of holding Marath back, but their efforts bought the army a single day of rest. During that time, Nox was sent into the city to recruit any willing to fight. Only a few hundred civilians answered the call, none trained, none with magic, because Vernon had kept Pernath's people unarmed for years to prevent rebellion. Tension simmers through the camp as soldiers whisper that Aelin has abandoned them. Adian repeatedly insists she is on a mission with Rowan to stop Erewhon himself, but even he privately wonders whether sacrificing her fire for the lock was a fatal mistake. Without her power or Dorian's, the army feels exposed and hopelessly outmatched. By midday, Marath's forces arrive. Adian has already urged the people of Pernath to flee into the Oakwald, knowing no reinforcements are coming. Rolf remains silent, Galen's forces are depleted and scattered, and Ansel's army has vanished without a trace. They are alone. As Marath's soldiers march onto the frozen river, the Bane begins pounding their swords against their shields, creating a thunderous rhythm meant to steady their courage and to hide the sound of the ice cracking beneath the enemy. Edmion and Celine, the last Fae with any magic left, stand ready behind the front line. When the moment comes, they unleash their power, shattering the ice and sending thousands of Marath soldiers plunging into the freezing water. Ren's archers cut down the Ilkin who tried to rescue them. But the Valg princes halt the advance before more can fall, and the river refreezes. The victory is brief, tens of thousands still remain. When the enemy reaches the shore, the battle erupts in full. Lysandra in her wyvern form tears through the Ilkin until they adapt and begin to trap her. The Bane's lines buckle under the overwhelming numbers and panic spreads as men begin to break and flee. The battlefield is collapsing. Seeing the Ilkin feasting on the right flank and sensing the hopelessness of the fight and understands the terrible sacrifice she may have to make. Dun, dun, dun.
Wild.
Our group in Terrasan cannot catch a fucking break. They are
No.
the only group that has consistently been fighting since basically page 1. And
Yep.
they are dwindling quickly.
And they have lots of allies helping, and they're still, unfortunately, dwindling.
Yeah, the allies are dwindling. They're dwindling. They don't know where Rolf is. They don't know where Ansel's remaining army is. Galen's forces are spread too thin across the coast, and here on land, they have nothing. And when, even with the slight reprieve and trickery of drowning Marath's army, there was only about 2,000 of them that went into that water, with tens of thousands still behind them.
Yeah.
What a powerful scene though, is like, yeah, this might be our final stand, but we're gonna freaking fight and do whatever we can to get you down. And just
Yeah.
like thinking about the Bane starting to like bang their sword against their
I know.
shields, I got full body chills.
Yeah,
And
I know.
every time a battle's about to start, I get like anxious.
Me too.
Like I'm there too, holding a sword, like ready to fucking slice down
Well,
some
I get
Valg.
excited because I love battle scenes. I don't know why I love a good battle scene. But I feel like I got really nervous. I'm just scared that someone's going to die soon. We're already almost to the end.
Yeah.
And we've had some close calls already.
We have
Lorcan, Fenris,
had some close calls.
So I'm scared.
But it's just really crazy at this point because Marath's army, eventually makes it across the river after the Valks basically like threaten Adian with the collar. And he's like, it's the only thing I liked about Adian in that moment. Yeah. And then the lines break and the men just start fleeing. They're like, fuck this. We've been out here for months at this point and we're done. We're done. And Lysandra is like, I know what I have to do. Amanda, tell us what she has to do.
I'll tell you. Chapter 47. Adian has been pushed far behind the collapsing lines as Marath's forces broke through. soldiers fleeing in panic, a shameful rout he knew would never be spoken of with honor. He believed the battle was lost on the nameless field before Bernath, until a shout cut through the chaos. The queen had come. Instinctively, he searched the sky for flame, but there was none. Instead, Lysandra, still wearing Aelin's form, stood alone at the front, facing down to Ilkin, and Aedion was too far away to reach her. Regret slammed into him, every cruel word he'd thrown at her, calling her useless, casting her out into the snow. He wished he could take it back. Men rallied behind her, expecting the Firebringer to unleash magic. But Lysandra held her ground without shifting. She could become a wyvern and tore the Ilkin apart, but for Aelin's sake, for Terrasen's sake, she stayed in Aelin's skin. The Ilkin slashed her leg, mocking the scent of her blood. They knew. Lysandra fought back, wounding one enough to make it retreat, but the second struck her down. Aedion reached her in time to hurl his sword into the Ilkin's skull. Aelin's father's shield at his side and pressed his hands to her bleeding leg. Then he saw them, dozens of iron-teeth witches marching on foot, dragging a massive witch tower behind them. Manon had warned him what such a tower could do. He ordered the Terrasen soldiers to fall back and hauled Lysandra over his shoulder, running as fast as he could. One witch stepped into the tower's center. Aedion remembered the only magic the Iron-Teeth witch possessed, the yielding, a final, devastating sacrifice that unleashed the power of the dark goddess. The world shuddered as black-tinged light exploded outward. In an instant, 4,000 soldiers were reduced to ash and twisted metal.
Here they are.
No, not the yielding.
Here are the witch towers that we've been hearing about since Queen of Shadows.
Yeah.
Is when we first heard about them. And now here they are coming to play in Kingdom of Ash. Fuck.
This is crazy to me. Also because, like, they have to sacrifice a witch every single time.
Yeah. And I have to imagine that part of those soldiers that were just blown away were not just Terrasen soldiers, but Maraths as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally anyone in the line of the beam, I guess.
Yeah.
4,000 soldiers. Crazy. So before the fucking witches show up, those crazy bitches.
Literally crazy suicidal bitches.
Yeah.
It's probably a yellow leg.
Literally, yeah. Actually, I think it was.
Oh.
Actually, I don't know if it was. I might.
It would make the most sense, honestly.
Yeah, I think so, because she's not going to sacrifice a Blackbeak.
Who? Oh, the mom.
The matron. Yeah.
Yeah, but who knows, like, what part of the army, because you know how Iskra's, like, has
true.
control over, well, I guess could probably control over everyone now.
Yeah. And she's a Blackbeak, right?
She's a yellow leg.
Oh, she's a yellow leg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, Aedion is, like, in his pity party because everyone's fleeing. Everyone's in panic, like you said. And all of a sudden he hears the queen had come, and he foolishly looks up in the sky for some flames, and they ain't coming. So he knows it's Lysandra. Of course, this is where he fucking feels so bad about calling her useless, throwing her in the snow. He wished he could take it all back. These men are rallying behind her. She did her job. They got there, but they're also waiting for some magic to happen, which is not happening.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets into it with these two Ilkin, and one slices her leg and immediately knows she's not Aelin because of the smell of her blood. Before the second one can kill her, Aedion throws his sword, and luckily it lands right through the skull.
Mm-hmm.
And they mentioned that he has Aelin's dad's shield.
Yeah.
And I feel like we never knew that before.
No.
I feel like that's important news. Hence why I kept it in my summary. Why do we have that shield? Did we know he had that shield?
No, I think it was in my chapter because he says that he was waiting until he got back to Terrasen with Aelin to tell her. So we're just finding out now as readers too.
Okay. Well, either way, I had a feeling that was important. What can it shield them really from?
I don't know. They didn't know the origin or where it came from or how old it was. It just had been passed down and down and down and down.
Yeah. So cool. I can't wait to learn about that. Maybe it will be able to shield from this fucking witch tower.
Maybe.
That would be very useful.
Yes. Chapter 48. The cognate's armies had struck Marath hard enough that the ominous bone drums finally fell silent. It wasn't a victory, but it was enough to lift Kale's spirits as he limped into Princess Hazar's war tent. Sartak had brought that blissful day that had marked him as heir and that they were in war times, and the tent buzzed with tense energy of commanders preparing for the next phase of war. Irene guided Kale to sit as they reviewed their strategy. Sartok explained that while their forces outnumbered Marath's legion, they needed to be careful. They had to carve a path towards the city without burning through too many soldiers. This battle was only the beginning. He admitted that if Hazar hadn't arrived when she did, he had been considering a desperate plan to break the dam and flood the plains. A messenger interrupted with news that unexpected visitors had arrived. Aelin, Rowan, and several companions entered the tent. Kale, stunned,
Woo.
said he thought she was in Terrason. Every report had placed her there, yet she was here at Aniel, without any army but accompanied by 3 powerful Fey warriors and a Lide. Aelin didn't speak at first. She simply stared at Kale, tears dripping down her face at the sight of him standing and walking again. She laughed through her emotion and embraced him, telling him she always knew he could do it. Kale credited Irene, but Aelin already remembered the young healer who she had once helped. Irene stepped forward and handed Aelin the worn piece of paper she always carried. She thanked Aelin for the money that had allowed her to reach the tour, become heir to the healer on high, and train countless healers in self-defense Aelin had taught her. She hadn't wasted a single coin or a moment of the life Aelin had given her. Aelin, moved, asked to keep the paper and introduced Rowan as her husband and mate, and Kale revealed Irene was now Irene Westfall. Kale added that Nezrin was also responsible for bringing the Cognate's armies here. Aelin embraced Nezrin warmly, eager to hear the full story. She also explained that Dorian wasn't with them. He was with Manon, searching for something crucial, which Kale understood to mean the word keys. Nezrin introduced Hazar and Sartok, who bowed, and Aelin presented her own group, Lorcan and Fenris, now blood sworn to her, Gabriel, Adian's father, and Alide. With reunions complete, Aelin turned back to the war map and asked the question everyone had been waiting for: how they planned to march out and beat the living hell out of Marath's army.
Hell
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, this actually might be one of my favorite chapters so
I
far.
think this is one of my favorite chapters almost ever because of that
Yeah.
reunion between Aelin and
Oh,
Irene was just
I know, but even
so
Aelin and
perfect.
Kale too
Yeah.
was
All
cute.
right, I guess.
All right.
No, it was cute.
She was crying when she saw him walking.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're both married. Like, so
So much has
cute.
happened since the last time they saw
Yeah.
each other. And yeah, but I just love that Irene is like, thank you.
I
Like, this
know.
is what I did. This
I
is what you gave me. And
know.
I didn't waste a single moment. And Aylin's like, well, I guess now it's my turn to thank you for what you're doing here, healing Kale, bringing this army back to, this continent to fight in this war. So it's just
Yeah.
such a nice, touching moment
I
amidst all this
know.
war and gore and just sadness.
I love all these like ghosts from her past almost coming to light.
Yeah,
We met Falcon. Now we know Irene's
I
back.
know. It's really nice by the end of this book, if, they're still alive, they are all kind of reconvening together for a final battle.
I'm breathing a little heavy after that statement, but okay.
I didn't want to be like, and they were all,
Kind of blacked out after
I didn't
that.
want to be like, and they were all there at the end.
I know, I know, I know. Oh no, they're not gonna all be there at the end. This is gonna be nuts. I'm stressed.
I'm stressed. So then there's basically after that, it's just like introductions. And then Aylin's like, all right, let's go. What's the game plan? How are we going to beat the shit out of these assholes?
Hell yeah. That's the kind of energy they need right
Yeah,
now.
for sure.
Chapter 49. Aelin finally asked the Coggan children where they planned to go after the battle in Aniel, thinking they might be persuaded to aid Terrason. Hazar immediately called her out for it, while Sartak, now unmistakably the Coggan's heir, making Nezrin a potential future empress, said they would decide only once Aniel was secured. Rowan stressed that Terrason desperately needed their support, but Kale urged Aelin to focus on the current battle. He reported that the walls had been breached earlier that day, though they managed to reclaim them. The losses among Aniel's soldiers were devastating. Nezrin suggested driving Marath's forces into the freezing lake, but Hazar warned that the Valg came from darkness and cold, and icy water might not harm them, risking their own troops for nothing. The council was interrupted when Borte burst in, followed by a young man declaring, "It's back! It was Falcon!" Restored to his youth after feeling the change return that very day. He immediately recognized Aelin from the Xandria market, and as they reintroduced themselves, Nesrin revealed the shocking truth. Falcon was Lysandra's uncle. Falcon also realized that the assassin he'd met back then had been Aelin Galathinius herself. Hazar, watching the group, understood that all the males present were Fae. Once the council resumed, Aelin learned that Falcon had been serving as a spy and no longer needed her to kill the Stygian spider, who had once cursed him. When Falcon asked Nezrin whether they knew, quotations, Aelin braced herself, and Nezrin delivered the most staggering revelation yet. The Stygian spiders are Valg, and they answer only to their Valg queen, Maeve.
Whoa.
She finally knows the truth. Everything she was thinking about the blood, which we'll get into after she really finds out. But she knew this the whole time, and now it's confirmed for her.
Hell yeah.
Wild. I forget sometimes, because I've already read, that she didn't meet Falcon again until this chapter. So it's just reunion after reunion for her. But before that, we get some bad news. First of all, Aniel is losing a lot of men. Although Hazar is not really. She's chilling.
She's chilling.
They're definitely going to be persuaded to come to Terrasen.
Well, I think that was the game plan to begin with before they detoured there. But they're thinking, well, what if there's other places like Aniel that need our help?
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. But Terrasen is one of those places. At least we thought so, but they have not called for aid yet, which I don't know why this came to my head, but it did, and I'm going to follow my gut here. I'm very confused why they haven't called for aid yet. Very confused. Especially because they don't have Aelin, they don't have Dorian, they don't have any magic people there. Their Bane
well, they
is
have
here.
the Whitethorn Royals and Rowan's cousins that are magical.
True. That's true. I forgot about that. So they do have some magic there. But it's just wild to me that they haven't called for aid yet.
Well, I think they were thinking probably before this kind of battle at Pernath, like that they had Galen's forces, Ansel's forces, the Whitethorn Royals. They had Terrasen's army, whatever was there of it. And it's just slowly becoming depleted to where now they're going to have to call for aid. So we'll have to see, I guess, if they do that or not.
That's true. But did Darrow and all them know that at the time? That they had all those allies? I know Aelin knows that. They were all going to Terrasen.
Well, I think Darrow found out when they came back, but Marath hadn't been to Terrasen until they kind of all got there at the same time. Like Adian came with the allies as Marath was pulling up at Terrasen shores.
Okay.
I think it was just like a perfect storm, honestly.
Yeah. It just made me think, like, is he a bad guy? Is he a Valg?
Well, I don't think he's a great guy. I don't know if he's a Valg or not, but he's definitely not my favorite person.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see.
The fucking spiders were Valg and Maeve was Valg, so I feel like there's a trend here.
Everybody's Valg.
Literally. If I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. But for now, that's what I think.
If he is, we'll just have to chop his head off too.
Yep, exactly. Falcon has his youth back in this chapter. Not only does he reintroduce himself to Aelin, but
because he's
young again. Yeah. Because Dorian killed the spider. So that was the spider, which we didn't know until
Dorian killed that one. I forgot her name.
Cyrene.
Yeah.
Cyrene, yeah. Wild. Thank you, Dorian. It also comes out that the Stygian spiders are Valg in this chapter, which we knew from Tower of Dawn, but now Aelin, it is confirmed for her. And tell us what happens next, Megan.
All right, chapter 50. Rowan reels as Nezrin confirms the truth. Maeve is not merely a powerful Fae queen. She is one of the Val queens. Well, she's not a Fae queen at all. She is just a Val queen. The Karen Kui had revealed the entire hidden history. Maeve fled her Val husband ages ago, and the Val kings Erewhon, Orcus, and Mantex tore through the world searching for her. When she arrived in this world, she took a new form, and even the Fae who rose up against the Valg never recognized her. Her deception ran so deep that even Brannon, in life and in death, never knew who she truly was. It also confirmed one of Maeve's greatest fears, which was was the healers. She keeps one enslaved in the form of an owl, terrified that the Valg might discover her true identity. Because the Valg are parasites, Irene could potentially cure the human hosts, something she proved when she saved Princess Duva from a Valg princess. Rowan's hands shake as he realizes the truth behind Maeve's powers, why she could invade his mind, why she was deathless, why her magic was darkness itself. Sartak adds that this is also why Maeve fears fire and why she fears Aelin so profoundly. Aelin admits she once cut Maeve and thought her blood looked black before turning red. Fenris and Rowan both confirm that Maeve's blood tasted normal to them. Nezran explains that Maeve could easily manipulate someone's senses to make her blood appear fey. Allied then asks the question hanging over all of them. If Maeve hates the Val Kings and has hidden from them for a millennia, why ally with them now? Nezran can only say that the Karen Kui haven't seen Maeve in thousands of years. They only hear whispers from lesser spiders, and they still worship her. Aelin finally reveals her own secret. She had been Maeve's captive for 2 months. She recounts the torture, the attempts to break her, and Maeve's obsession with forcing her to reveal the locations of the remaining word keys. Hazar swears that they will make Maeve pay, and Aelin agrees. The cadre is still shaken by the revelation, so Allied pulls them back to the immediate problem, tomorrow's battle. Kel mentions they brought books of word marks from the tour for Aelin to study if they survive. Rowan asks where this army plans to go next, hoping that they will march north with them. But Aelin spirals, panicking at the confirmation that Maeve is Valg. If Erewhon gets the keys and summons his brothers, the world is doomed. She regrets not hunting the keys herself, but Rowan reminds her she made the right choice. Terrasen needs her. She survived a Valg queen for 2 months. She can survive what comes next. Aelin admits she nearly broke, that she wanted to die by the end, but Rowan steadies her, promising they will fight together until they cannot anymore. Aelin checks on Fenris, who explains that the healers in Maeve's camp had been horrified by what was done to Aelin and resisted in small ways, claiming they couldn't wake her. He didn't know if Maeve punished them, but the healers were always replaced. Aelin vows to never be helpless again. Meanwhile, Gavriel and Rowan discuss the implications of Maeve's true nature. Gavriel reflects on why Aelin hasn't given him the blood oath, because she intends to give it to Adian first. Rowan reassures him that if anything had happened to Adian, someone would know. And Rowan ends the conversation by saying that if they crush Marath's army tomorrow, he might be fighting beside Adian by Yulnis. He then instructs Gavriel to gather Alide and Lorcan. The Rooks are ready to fly them back to the keep. Well, so much happened.
So much happened.
Jesus. So basically, this is like what our third retelling of Maeve's story is like being drilled into her head that I think I could just repeat it around a campfire at this point.
Literally. I guess it's because we just read Tower of Dawn too, that it's like still so fresh.
Well, but we've already, and then we hear it at the beginning of this book too, when Aelin is being held captive by Maeve.
Yeah, by Maeve.
So
yeah.
I had that chapter too. So I'm just like, I feel like I'm writing this story again for the third time.
You should have just copy and pasted.
No, for sure. I should have, but it's fine. So everyone is horrified. I mean, especially the cadre, because they're like, we were blood oath to what? A Valg queen?
Literally.
They are shooketh.
Now it makes sense why Aelin asked you about the blood, Fenris.
Yes. So Aelin, says that, well, I thought I saw that, but she had nothing concrete to prove it.
Yeah.
But she had obviously an inkling, and that inkling was correct. We confirm Maeve's biggest fears, which is fire and healers, which we already knew from Tower of Dawn and from this book too. And everyone's kind of like fucking spiraling in this chapter, but they're going to fight. They're going to do what they can. Gavriel's going to get back to Adian, fingers crossed, and
yes,
we're going to fight another day tomorrow.
We are going to fight another day. I have one question,
okay.
though. The owl, I just had a thought that maybe it's the missing cadre member, the owl. Because isn't there one that like completely disappeared? We have no idea where he is.
Yes, and I would say yes, but Sarah was asked about the missing cadre member in the Call Her Daddy episode, and she's like, oh yeah, he is still out there, like, and kind of was just really vague about it, so it's not him.
Okay.
Yeah. He kind of took his orders to find Lorcan very loosely and just fucking skedaddled.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Go find Lorcan where you never think he'll be.
He's still looking to this day.
That's so funny. Keep looking, honey.
Yeah.
Chapter 51. Lorcan cared little for the coming battle. After 5 centuries of war, fighting demons instead of fae or humans made little difference. What unsettled him was the revelation that his former queen, Maeve, had been Valg all along, and that he had once believed he loved her. Alide announced that the Rux were ready to depart, but Lorcan admitted he didn't know what to make of anything anymore. Alide, still unable to let go of the fact that he had once served and desired Maeve, pressed him about it, and Lorcan accused her of jealousy. She told him she only wanted to understand how he could love a monster because maybe it would help her understand how she had done the same. The only thing she envied, she said, was that Maeve was rid of him now. Lorcan apologized again, but Alide coldly told him she didn't care if he walked off the battlefield tomorrow.
Okay.
Harsh,
And a
Alide.
hard lie.
Yeah. Gabrielle intercepted Alide on her way to the Rux, gently telling her she should have ignored Lorcan. He had never once heard Lorcan apologize for anything, not even when Maeve whipped him for mistakes. Gabrielle then revealed the truth. Lorcan had taken the blood oath to Aelin only to remain close to Alide, despite knowing she had a mortal lifespan. Alide realized he had done it for her, and she had just thrown the cruelest lie in his face. Gabrielle walked away and was gone, just as the wise voice was that whispered to Alide her entire life. Meanwhile, Nesrin finished cleaning Salki and watched as the Ruckin prepared to fly out with Aylin's group, Kale and Irene, healers, supplies, and the horses. Borte wanted to join the Fae in battle, but Nesrin assured her she would have her chance if they marched to Terrasen afterward. Borte then caught Urine eavesdropping, and the two immediately fell into their usual bickering, mostly Bort threatening to kill him, until Urine whispered something that made her blush. Nesrin was baffled, though Sartok noted that the soldiers in the nearby tents certainly weren't confused. Nesrin was happy for them. Sartok then tugged her close, telling her to come to bed so he could hold her, and do far more than that.
Shit.
She told him they needed to finish with Salki first, and Sartok lunged for the brush, determined to finish as fast as possible.
Oh.
Sartok is one horny motherfucker right
He's
now.
like, if I'm going to battle tomorrow, I'm getting it in before tonight is over.
He's like, my fucking Hearth sister been getting it every goddamn night, and I can't get it once. He's like, get in the fucking bed.
I'm dead.
So, honestly, I am Team Alide in the Team Alide versus Lurkin right now, but this is harsh. And obviously, we know it's a lie. She knows it's a lie. Lurkin probably knows it's a lie. But this is even harsh to say, even if it's a lie.
Yeah.
That you don't care if he walks off the battlefield?
A conversation definitely needs to be had between the both of them. And this was such a perfect opportunity when they had a moment while everyone's kind of decompressing from the Maeve bombshell to discuss their issues and how do they move forward from here since they are a part of the same court now. And Alai does not take the opportunity to do that. She takes the opportunity to try to hurt him just as badly as he hurt her. And I get it, but at the same time,
I feel like this is awful to say, though, that you literally don't care if they die. Call him a monster, that you're envy that she's rid of him or whatever, but like, you don't care if he dies?
When you do care a whole lot, as we see in just a couple chapters, darling.
Indeed, darling. Just wild that she even said that.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah. I'm glad Gabrielle intercepts her and basically bitches her out in the nicest way.
Gabrielle is such a voice of reason. He has been since Air of Fire, and he's just such a calming presence and always can just see the right answer the right way. So I feel like when Gabrielle says something, you should really take note and listen to what he's saying because he's just the most honest man or female that they have.
Yeah, for real. And he's not afraid to speak the truth either. No. He's like, you should have just fucking ignored him. Like, you don't have to like him again, but you shouldn't have fucking said that. And he tells her, like, he never even apologized ever in his life. Yeah. Or at least as long as Gabriel has known him.
Which is a long-ass time.
And even this little voice that has been whispering to Alide her entire life turns their back on her.
She's like, you little bitch.
They were like, no, that was bad.
Bad Alide.
Bad Alide. We're gonna
call you a lead. Just kidding.
Yeah. So funny. And then we get this cute little banter with Nesrin and Sartok. I love it. Bort is, of course, bickering with Urine, although we know they're crazy in love. The poor people next to them in the tents.
So funny.
Oof. But, they're going to finish cleaning Sake as fast as they can so they can get some action in before the next battle.
Yes, darling.
Good for you, Sartak and Nezrin
Get some.
and Borte and Urine.
Chapter 52. The Krakens returned to their camp in the Fangs to wait for whatever decision the Iron Teeth would make. As Manon and the 13 walked towards Glennis's fire, Bronwyn joined her, anxious for answers. Manon explained that she hadn't gone to rally the Iron Teeth, but to force them to confront who they wanted to be in this war. Whether they would turn against Marath or against her remained uncertain. Bronwyn admitted she regretted hoping at all. Glennis informed Manon that they would need to leave by morning and return to their home Earths. Manon wondered aloud whether the Iron Teeth were capable of change. Glennis told her that if anyone could judge that, it was Manon herself. She asked whether Rhiannon had believed in that possibility, and whether Manon did. Glennis said that she believed Manon could rule both Kraken and Iron Teeth, uniting what had been shattered long ago. Astrid, unwavering, insisted the Iron Teeth would turn. Still, Manon felt the sting of hope that she had once shared with the Lyde, hope that now seemed fragile. Meanwhile, Dorian answered the Krakens' hesitant questions, ones they were too intimidated to ask the 13. He confirmed that no host followed them, that Manon had indeed asked the Iron Teeth to join them, and that she had spoken as both Kraken and Iron Teeth. As he spoke, he felt the word key stirring within him. If he stayed steady, if he didn't doubt, he believed he could set things right. Damaris warmed in agreement. So this is just like a quick little update chapter of what happened when Manon and the 13 went to go talk to Petra and the Iron Teeth witches in the Fangs. And basically, it's a waiting game at this point. We don't know if they are going to join, but Manon has asked them to consider who they wanted to be in this war and asked them to join her. But that's all she can really do. She can't force them to join the Krakens and the 13.
I think she picked good ones, though. I think Petra and her crew will come and
We'll
help.
have to see.
Oh boy, darling.
But we get this little, we keep getting this foreshadowing of Manon being a queen for both the Kraken and Iron Teeth. And would Rhiannon even want this? And Glennis is like, yes, yes. So it kind of all comes full circle by the end of this section anyways. And I'm excited to get there eventually.
I know. And we got Damaris the talking sword.
Yes, we have Damaris.
I love when he tells us everything.
Yes, he's like, that is correct, Dorian. Stay true and steady to your mission and you will be fine. And Damaris warms is like, oh, it's the truth. It's the truth. I'm right.
I'm going to stay alive.
Thank God.
I will survive. Chapter 53. Lysandra remained unconscious for 2 days after the battle, and when she finally woke, Aedion told her the grim truth. They had been forced to yield Pernath, and were now retreating towards Orinth, only 3 days ahead of Marath's armies. A storm had slowed the enemy just enough to keep them alive. Though they had lost the battle, Lysandra had rallied the troops and ensured they did not flee in shame. Reaching for water, she noticed her own hand. She had shifted back while the healer stitched her wounds, and the soldiers had seen enough to realize Aelin was away on a secret mission with Rowan and the others, one so important no one dared to speak of it. Aedion apologized for everything, but Lysandra refused to accept it. After a lifetime of degradation at the hands of men, nothing had ever cut as deeply as Aedion throwing her naked into the snow before their allies. She was furious that it took her nearly dying for him to see her as human again. She had wanted it to be him, after Wesley, after everything, but now there was nothing left to say. As he left, Aedion told her he still meant every word of the promise he meant to her in Skulls Bay. For those of you that are not watching, Megan just flicked off the camera. Aedion felt like the bastard he was, and rightfully so. He wondered how many more wounded would die that night. They had no time to burn the dead, and soldiers muttered that they were leaving the Valga feast, so he kept them working to silence the complaints. Spotting Ren and Darrow by a fire, he approached, only to learn Darrow had stripped him of his title. He was now just another soldier in the Bane. His recklessness, disobedience, and the losses at the border and Pernath had cost him command. Killian would now lead, and Aedion would answer to him. Ren had fought to let Aedion keep the sword of Orinth, but Aedion surrendered it willingly. He no longer cared. He retreated to his tent and didn't emerge until dawn. Among the soldiers, one man reflected bitterly that fighting for Prince Adian and the Bane had once been an honor worth leaving his family, and the girl he never got to kiss behind. But now, with Adian disgraced, their queen missing, and his friends dead, that honor felt hollow. Still, he would not abandon Terrasin. He had sworn an oath, and he would keep it, even if it meant never seeing home again. Killian refused to make strategic decisions without Adian's input, though Adian wished he would simply take command. They needed to choose a route to Orinth, the southern bridge, which might be icy and slow them down, or the northern path. Ren rode with Lysandra and relayed the discussion to her so she could scout the bridge in falcon form for ice. She returned with devastating news. The flooring was not frozen, but Marath's soldier had already raised the bridge. They were being herded north, and Marath would reach them by tomorrow. Adian realized that they were utterly trapped. Dun, dun, dun!
It's all gonna come down to Orinth.
Oh, yes, it is, darling. And you know what? I think our other crew will be there by then, and it's going to be fucking epic.
Yep, it is.
I cannot wait. But let's chat a little bit about this chapter because I have some thoughts. What'd you say?
I don't want to talk about the beginning part of this chapter.
Why? I feel like Lysandra gives it to him, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
No, I'm excited that she did that, but I just hate him so much.
I know. She's right, though. Like, it literally took him dying, which is so funny.
Because it would affect him, because he's a narcissist. It has nothing to do with her at all. I'll let you talk, because I'm just angry.
Not only do they have this discussion, but Lysandra notices that she's back in her own body. She's not in Aylin's body, and all the troops know. And Adian was basically forced to tell them that she's off on a secret mission, and they had to yield to Pernath, so they're retreating towards Orinth. The Marath army is chasing them, so shit is going fucking down.
It's going down. I'm yelling timber. Yeah, I mean, they're hurting them there for a reason.
Yeah, for sure. Adian also, he's stewing in his own misery for being the bastard that he is. But he also sees Darrow and Ren, who basically lays it on him and takes away his title for his disobedience, for his losses, and his recklessness. And even Ren is like trying to defend Adian and everything that he's done. And Adian's not even defending Adian. He's just like in his pity party mode. And he's just like, I don't give a fuck. Take the sword, take the army, take the fucking command. I don't give a fuck.
Well, he was wrong because was it right to go right to the north where they're being herded with their full allies without all these dead allies and to guard Orinth and to fight on their own grounds and prepare for Marath to arrive instead of marching this army towards Marath to stop them in the south? And now they've lost so many men, so much land. They lost Pernath. Was Adian correct in marching his allies down there?
Yeah. I think two truths can be true. I think for the friends' sake and the sake of the morale of the members of our crew, they did have to go that way. But I also think for Terrasin's sake, it was not the best decision.
I think in theory, maybe it seems like a good decision, like stop them before they get too far in.
Yeah, because they could also pick up more people, get stronger.
But that army had been marching to get to Terrasin, had a battle with some Marath soldiers already once they got there. They're exhausted. The conditions and the weather are not great. And so it's like you didn't even really give them the time to recuperate before you continued marching them south to battle an army who is ready to go.
Yeah.
They were not prepared.
I think they're losing a lot of people too, but they're definitely getting exhausted and tired, and they're not going to be at their full strength for this war in Orinth if they keep this up.
Learning lessons in war.
Indeed, darling. There's really no right answers.
I mean, because it could go either way. I guess you just never know what's going to happen. But I think dragging an exhausted army to fight literal demons might not have been the best. But I mean, also cut the head off of the beast before it gets bigger. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So who knows? the decision was made and now he's paying for it. His title is stripped. We do get this little section in this chapter of this soldier who is just reflecting on his life and how like honored he felt to be in this army for Prince Adian and the Bane and his queen, or not that he even knew of the queen actually at this point, but he knows of the queen now and he's, had felt all this honor and now he's just like feeling so defeated with Adian disgraced and now the queen is actually missing and his friends are all dead but he just still not giving up. He's like, I will fight for Terrasen. I will fight for my family. I will fight just like I sworn the oath to do.
Mhm.
And that just reminded me of the slave in Endovier, and it just gave me so much hope for this army. And I hope that they all feel that way and that nobody else runs in shame. And hopefully something great happens for them. And they
Hopefully.
all make it to Orinth. Not all of them, but most of them.
Yeah. They were not exploded by a witch tower.
Yeah. And the last thing really to discuss in this chapter is Killian refusing to even make any strategic strategies once he's named the commander of the Bane. He's basically checking with Adian for everything, which Adian's still having a pity party about, but whatever. Obviously, obviously the loyalty and the respect is still there for Killian and Adian, so this is what's going to happen. But they're discussing which route to take to Orinth, and Lysandra ends up going to scout the bridge and sees that Morass soldiers have already raised that bridge and they're being hoarded north and they're fucking trapped. And hopefully the others come to save them because I feel like they are doomed. And I feel like death is upon us.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
We shall see. Chapter 54. Kale is in the stables calming his horse before the coming battle when Irene finds him. He's deep in thought, haunted by the events of the past months and worried about Dorian's fate with Manon and the 13. He can only hope his friend succeeds and doesn't sacrifice himself to forge the lock. Irene prepares to return to the healers, but Kale stops her and gently reveals that he knows she's pregnant. She admits she is 2 months along and hadn't told him because she didn't want him to worry. Kale jokes that his father noticed before he did. He vows that they'll win this war quickly so he can build her a new home by summer, which Irene calls a noble reason to defeat Erewhon.
Cute.
Before bed, Kale wants to introduce Aelin to his father. Irene insists on coming, snacks in hand, but they find Lord Westfall already marching towards Aelin. He immediately questions whether Aelin met Rowan when Kale sent her to Wendelin, and Aelin brushes it off, saying everything worked out for the best since Kale now has Irene. Lord Westfall tries to assert his authority as Lord of Aniel, but Aelin reminds him that Kale, as Hand of the King, outranks him. Rowan adds that they have no intention of taking his lands, which only irritates the Lord further. He storms off, and Irene and Kale savor the moment. Allied watching feels sympathy for Kale, seeing how unpleasant his father truly is.
Mm-hmm.
Rowan teases Aelin for being in rare form, and she replies that anyone who interrupts her dinner deserves whatever they get. She genuinely is happy, though, for Kale and Irene and the pregnancy, which she knows about.
Mm-hmm.
But Rowan is troubled. He can smell the fear rolling off the soldiers, and fear makes for sloppy fighters. No speech will erase the dread of tomorrow's battle, though their strategy is solid. Allied wonders who will rule Doranel if Maeve is banished with the Valg. They say that the crown would fall to Aelin, but someone from Rowan's line would also have a claim. She casually decides Celine can have it. Aelin could, though, rule the West, the fairy queen of the West, and Celine could be the fairy queen of the East. But another title hardly phases Aelin at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That night, Aelin wakes from another nightmare and curls into Rowan's side, reminding herself that she will never be helpless again.
Oh,
Yes. So we finally get the confrontation between Kale and Irene, even though he's known now for quite some time or
I
quite some
know.
days
Yeah.
since his dad has revealed it to him that Irene is pregnant, and she says that she is 2 months along, and they have just such this cute, innocent moment together,
Yeah.
even though this is just truly horrifying in this book of all war
Yeah.
that Irene is pregnant. Kale and Irene are magically linked, and whatever happens to one happens to the other. And now
Yeah.
there's a baby on the line.
I know. But it just gives them something to fight harder for?
That's very true, but horrifying.
I know.
But I love
Hopefully
Irene.
the
She's like,
baby lives. and
Yeah,
Irene and
I know.
Kale. Ooh. They have to survive together or die together, so.
I mean, honestly, though, I don't think Sarah J. Maas is about murdering babies, so I feel
No.
like this kind of seals their fate to me as a reader, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
That
What do
would
I
be
know?
devastating.
That would be fucked up.
Yeah, for sure.
Fucked
We
up.
need her in the end, though. She's the ultimate healer, so she has to make it to the end.
I think this should put you with peace of mind, at least to your boy.
Yeah. Yay! Sorry, before you continue,
Mhm.
one other reunion I cannot wait for is the bromance between Kale and Dorian when they finally get back. He learns Kale's going to be a dad, he's a husband. Oh my god, I can't wait. Okay, continue.
Okay, okay. Oh, I love Irene, though, so much. I love her
Me too.
personality. I love that she wants to bring fucking popcorn to watch the interaction between Kale's dad and Aelin, which I also would be doing the same
Hell
thing, just,
yeah.
like,
I would love to be a fly on that wall for that
watching them
conversation.
a tennis match. Though, I mean, it wasn't really a tennis match. The dad is just an idiot, and
Yeah.
Aelin's like, "Yeah, I don't have time for this. Like, we're here to help out. Fuck off." Door slammed in the face is
Yeah.
basically what happens.
Yeah, because she says that Kale has like higher rank anyway, right?
Yeah,
Than
he's
him?
like, "You're not the queen of a darlin." And she's like, "No, I'm not, but your son is hand of the king, and that means he outranks you."
Yeah.
So she's like, "Mic drop. See
Sorry.
ya."
We don't give a fuck what you say.
Yeah.
Kale even was like, yeah, I didn't want to hit him with that blow, but yep, I outrank him. Sucker.
Sucker.
I'll let somebody else tell you.
Yeah, and then basically just at the end of this chapter, we add another title. Obviously, we already knew the little folk had put Mab's crown on her head,
Yeah.
and Celine is from Mora's line, and they're now the fairy queens of the
Co-queens.
East and West. It's so very wicked.
Literally. Aylin's going to be queen of the entire world by the end of this.
Maybe. It's the final countdown. Da-da-da-da.
Actually, no. Aylin probably doesn't want that at all. She would rather give up all her titles and go be
Yeah,
an assassin again.
yeah, she's like, "Okay, I'm retired
Yeah.
from everything. Let me just read
Literally.
some books again." Remember her love of books in Throne of Glass? She
Yeah.
hasn't been able to read a book.
I know. But Kale brought all the word key books for her from Tower of Dawn. So
That's true. She
on the
has some
tour.
reading to do. She can do as she wants
Yeah.
on all of her downtime.
Yeah. Because she has so much.
Yeah, between her nightmares and the war and thinking about sacrificing herself.
Yeah. Her
Just
torture,
so
her
much to do.
trauma,
A little time.
Chapter 55. Dorian had spent the previous night studying a low-ranking Kraken witch closely enough to shift into her form, though the transformation was unpleasant. Every part of his body changed. He had to adjust to the unfamiliar balance and stature of a woman. The 13 were tense, unsure of their next move, and none of the Krakens paid him any mind, except Manon. She immediately scented him beneath the disguise and was unimpressed, remarking that she expected he choose someone prettier and demanding he shift back at once. Dorian, however, wanted something from her. For Manon to tell him not to go to Marath, but she refused to acknowledge the truth, that she was afraid of wanting him, afraid of any attachment, and walked away without looking back. Manon knew he was right. She feared letting herself feel anything, feared what it meant to care. But she had no time to dwell on it. As the Krakens packed up their camp, many looked at her with reluctance, not wanting to part ways, and she felt the same. Glennis stopped to say goodbye, and Manon realized she was afraid of everything, of fighting for the Krakens, of letting them see who she truly was, of facing what it meant to learn she was Kraken and had killed her own sister. But before she could speak further, Glennis's nostrils flared. She ordered Manon to run. The matrons of the Iron Teeth clans had found them, and they had come to finish what Manon had begun in Marath.
Oh, shit.
I was shooketh, Megan.
Shook it.
Shooketh.
I know
I
you're
knew,
texting me. You're like, "Oh my god."
yeah, I knew they would obviously come back into the story because the grandma didn't die. And obviously, they were going to try and band together to kill Manon at some point. I thought maybe it would be the final battle because they're so powerful. But
Well,
like
that's
for
still an option because Grammy still lives.
true, yeah. She'll definitely be at the final battle for sure. But this was just like a crazy shock to me at the end. The chapter kind of starts off funny, like Dorian is in a woman's body and he's like, "Ooh, if I had time, I would go pleasure myself so I know
I
what it
have
feels like."
boobies.
And even Manon's like, surprised you're not going touching yourself somewhere. And he's
She's like,
like,
"You
maybe I have.
fucking loser."
I can't. They're fucking crazy. But she does not want him to be able to do this and go into Marath, I guess, is what she's really afraid of. So she's like,
Yeah.
turn back. And he's like, no, tell me what I really want to hear. That you don't want me to go to Marath because it's true and you know it.
Yeah.
But she's like, it's not true. And walks
Like,
away.
"Get fucked. I'm not telling you shit."
Literally. Even though it is very true, darling, very true indeed, which she
Mhm.
admits at the next page break. She is also realizing, though, that she's not only scared about caring for Dorian, but she's scared about everything, showing the Crockens who she truly is, really fighting for them to be their queen. And before she can even have this conversation further with Glennis, the fucking matrons show up. Tell us about the matrons, Megan.
All right, chapter 56. The three high witches arrived alone, but their presence was enough to send a ripple through the Kraken camp. Brooms lifted into the air, some Krakens trembling as they recognized the ancient enemies who had hunted them for 1,000 years. Asterin and Sorel immediately flanked Manon, reporting that the shadows were airborne and had spotted no additional Iron Teeth units, no Iskra, no Petra. Manon warned Dorian to not engage with the matrons. The Yellowlegs matron wore Rhiannon's stolen crown, the crown of stars, clearly meant to taunt them. Her grandmother opened with accusations, claiming Manon had committed treason by trying to turn the Iron Teeth forces against them and by sowing lies among their sentinels. Manon countered that she had spoken only the truth and that the matron's fear was the real reason they had come together to hunt her down. They feared what she represented. They feared what the others might see in her. Her grandmother sneered that she sounded like a Kraken. The fight erupted. Manon faced all three matrons at once. She didn't land many blows, but she held her ground, held the line she had drawn. When she reached back, Bronwyn hurled her sword towards her. Manon invoked Rhiannon's last stand, reminding them that Rhiannon had held the gate for 3 days and nights and had never knelt. Manon vowed to do the same. The Krakens gasped. Even Glennis drew in a sharp breath. The battle turned when Manon sprung a trap, sending the Yellowlegs matron stumbling. In a single divisive strike, Manon beheaded her. She lifted the crown of stars and placed it on her own head. It glowed, bright and alive, as if awakening after centuries of slumber. Beside Dorian, the 13 pressed 2 fingers to their brows in salute. The Kraken stared at Manon, recognizing what she had become, a new Kraken queen. Manon dismissed the blue blood matron, telling her to return home and inform her daughter that all life debts were paid. Only her grandmother remained, but the Blackbeak matron fled to her wyvern and Manon let her go. Manon tried to give the crown to Glennis, but the glow faded the moment she removed it. Glennis refused it, saying the crown belonged to Manon. What had once been stolen was restored. What was lost had come home. Glennis knelt and proclaimed her Manon Kraken, Queen of Witches. Bronwyn and Krakens followed. The 13 knelt as well. Dorian watched with quiet pride as both Kraken and Iron Teeth voices rose together, declaring her their queen.
Woo!
I got full body chills just even reading that again.
I know. I love Manon. Is this going to break the curse? I think so.
She just took on 3 matrons
Wild. At the same time.
at the same time with Windcleaver, and then Bronwyn throws her sword, which I feel like was the biggest step to
Yeah.
what ends up happening at the end of this chapter.
I feel like that's what breaks the curse.
Yeah, is Manon standing up to the matrons and then a Kraken stepping in to help an Iron
Yeah.
Teeth.
Yeah.
So crazy. And
Crazy.
Dorian's just watching his little lover with
I
pride.
know. He's like, oh, that's my girl.
But she's like, well, 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 you 3 fucking bitches showed up here to cover your own ass. Well, the grandma was there to cover her own ass to prove her innocence, that she wasn't trying to become the ruler of all.
Yeah.
And Manon's like, I didn't lie. You're here to cover your own fucking ass.
Yep.
And then they fight. We chop the yellow legs, Iskra's mother's head off, and Cressida was saved only because of Petra.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you should get out of here now. And that fucking bitch grandma, Peter Pan's running back to her wyvern because she had no other assistance,
Yep.
no one at her back. She knew
Nope.
she was fucking screwed and outnumbered if she continued to stay.
Yep. But I
Little
think that's
bitch.
another reason why Petra's definitely going to join us in the end, because they saved her mother.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And Manon puts the crown of stars on her head, which reminds me of the crown of stars from Agatar that
Oh,
Feyre takes out of the vault.
yes.
Anywho, so
Interessante.
when she puts it on, it glows. And when she takes it off, it stops glowing. So clearly it's hers. If it glows, it's yours. If it doesn't glow, it's not yours.
Indeed, darling. It's not yours.
What was stolen has been restored. What is lost has come home. And she is now Manon Crocken, not
Mm-hmm.
Blackbeak,
No.
Queen of Witches.
Sounds like curse broken to me. What had
Hell
been
yeah.
stolen was restored. What was lost had come home. Curse is broken. They definitely can go back to the waste. Although they're not going to yet, but they will by the end of this book.
Or, yeah, in theory,
In
they go
theory.
there at the end.
Well, yeah, that's my prediction.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I loved that chapter. It's my
I know.
actually, I don't know. Do I like the Aelin and Irene reunion more than this? Oh, they kind of hit the same for me.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I
this is
don't
such a
know.
powerful moment. This might beat it, honestly.
Really? I think the other. I think the other. I just
N-
have been anticipating that reunion since fucking early in Tower of Dawn.
No, I love it, and I definitely teared up reading it, but like I got full body chills like
Yeah.
when Glennis was speaking at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so powerful.
I knew she was going to do something crazy to finally get the Crockens on her side, but I'll be honest, I was not expecting the matrons to come.
Yeah,
Not expecting that at all.
crazy.
But it was great. Great chapter, darling.
It's a great one.
Chapter 57. Rowan spent the entire night awake, watching Aelin sleep and worrying over her, worrying about why she hadn't used her magic since the day she was freed in the cave, and what it would do to their army's morale when they looked to their firebringer and saw no flame. Fenris finally told him the truth. Aelin had been burned repeatedly by Cairn and Maeve. One burn so severe it took Maeve's healers 2 weeks to repair. By the time she woke, every mark was gone, leaving her unsure what had been real and what had been a nightmare. Fenris also revealed that Aelin had kept her mating scar until the very end, until she heard Rowan was in Terrasen and believed he wasn't coming for her. Rowan resolved to wait until she was ready to speak of it. The next morning, Aelin and Alide reached the breakfast table first, and afterward the group searched the keep for armor. They broke into a locked room filled with ancient heirlooms and weapons, and while the others went upstairs to take their positions, Aelin lingered alone, admiring a shield. Interesting.
Hmm.
Fenris hated the tense quiet before battle, but the Dargan army was already in formation, Ruck circling overhead. The Aniel men looked pale, and Fenris wished someone would give an inspiring speech, but it was too late. They would have to show their skills to inspire them. The horn from the Coggins forces sounded, and Kale shouted for the volley. Arrows rained down on the Valg as they surged toward the gates, but Rowan vowed they would never reach them. When no one could find Aelin, Rowan nearly abandoned his post to search until she appeared. She strode onto the field in pale gold armor, a war crown on her head, Goldrin blazing in her hand. Even without fire, she cut through the Valg with lethal precision, felling 5, then 10, inspiring the soldiers who roared for their queen. Rowan let out a battle cry and plunged into Morass ranks beside her. Aelin fought not only for Terrasen, but to impress Hazar enough to secure the Cognate's support. Rowan, Fenris, and Gavriel closed in around her, and she spotted Kale ahead of the mortal soldiers, who shouted, "To Lord Kale! To the Queen!" Lork enjoyed the fray as well, swinging his sword with brutal efficiency. Death has always been Aelin's curse and her gift, and under the golden morning sun, she welcomed it once more.
Hmm.
Why are we hearing about these shields? The
I don't
shields
know.
have to mean something.
Maybe.
They have to mean something. Why is she just staring at the shield? And why does Adian have Aelin's dad's shield? I am going to figure it out. I know I am. But Rowan is worried why Aelin hasn't used her magic yet. And Fenris kind of tells him the truth about Aelin being burned and that she literally didn't know what was real and what was a nightmare because they kept healing her. And I love that the healers could not remove the mating scar for so long, like pretty
Hmm.
much until the end until she knew, or she thought, that Rowan was still in Terracid and not coming for her. So
Mhm.
crazy that she was holding on to that for so long through this all.
I know.
So they decide they're going to go get some armor so that they can go and battle some Valg. They find this room, which is where she finds the shield, but she also finds this golden armor, this crown, a war crown, I think they call it. And everybody's in armor now and everybody's ready to go. Except Rowan is like about to abandon his post looking for Aelin. And she comes out sword blazing, killing Valg left and right. And everyone is souped. All the soldiers are like, yes, let's go to the queen. The men are there. The fucking Fae are there. Fenris, Rowan, and Lorcan shows up there. So she's ready to fucking kill some Valg and rain black blood all over these fields.
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
Mhm. Chapter 58. Alide hadn't even reached the battlements before wishing she would never see another war again. The wounded poured into the keep in an endless stream, and she marveled at how the healers managed to stay calm amid so much blood and terror. She threw herself into helping them, trying not to think about Lorcan, who hadn't returned to their chamber that night or appeared that morning. It felt as though he had taken every harsh word she had spoken to heart and chosen to stay away, so she kept working, refusing to dwell on it. Outside, the battle raged. Kale fought in the thick of it, catching glimpses of Aelin and Rowan battling back to back, a seamless, deadly force. Fenris carved his way to the battlements to join Kale near the second siege tower. Kale fought for hours, refusing to falter. His wife was inside the keep, and he would not fail her. Elsewhere, Nezran ran out of arrows far too quickly. She and Sartok discovered Marath's soldiers attempting to break the dam, intending to flood the plain and wipe out both armies. They tried to stop them, but the damage was already too great. The dam would break. They raced back towards the keep to warn everyone before the floodwaters hit. Lorcan and Gavriel had held one of the towers, but it had taken immense magic to break through the iron structure. When Kale called for them to fall back, Gavriel obeyed, but Lorcan felt a nudge, an instinct, telling him to keep fighting. So he stayed. He fought until a Marath soldier struck a devastating blow, gravely injuring him.
Wild.
I want to go to war!
Lorcan,
Battles!
no, darling.
Yeah, so Alide is in her feels about all the mean things she said to Lorcan. So she's helping
As
out the
she should.
healers.
She was so harsh.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And basically outside, they're just fighting. Nezran and Sartok come across an unfortunate situation
Mm-hmm.
where Marath's soldiers are trying to break the dam. They're able to like kill them, but like the damage that they had done was just far too great and it was just unrepairable at this point. So they're like, fuck, fuck, fuck. Like we have to get back and tell them what's going to happen. This is going to be fucking devastating.
Yeah, because the whole cavalry, the Cognate's army is in the field, in the plain,
Y- Yeah.
and the Aniel men. Like, this is going to be devastating if this water floods them.
Yes. And then Lorcan is out there. I think, he feels this nudge to keep going, but it's like, why would it tell him to go die? I think he just doesn't want to go back in because he is avoiding Alide and he
Well,
is
I feel
gravely
like
injured because of it.
he's thinking like she doesn't care. So what's after this anyway? If she's never going to forgive me, what the fuck is the point? I might as well just keep on fighting.
Yeah, he's like, I'd rather fight than run. So,
Exactly, yeah.
oh, poor Lorcan.
Poor
So
Lorcan.
sad.
Poor Lorcan, darling. Chapter 59. The Kaghan's army showed no mercy on the battlefield, cutting down every Valg soldier and ensuring none rose again. Healers moved swiftly among the fallen, sending the gravely wounded up to the Great Hall on Rux. Princess Hazar's forces suffered remarkably few losses, an achievement that impressed even the seasoned warriors, while Kale's father lost many men. Still, Hazar's growing respect for Aelin was a promising sign. Kale's father, however, was irritated to see them all wearing armor from his ancient heirloom collection, though Kale managed to shut him down. There were far more urgent matters at hand, especially with Cashin's army approaching and the hope of convincing them to march for Terrasin. That hope was interrupted when Nezran burst in with dire news. A group of Marath soldiers had been caught trying to destroy the dam, and though they hadn't fully succeeded, they had damaged it enough that it could collapse any moment. If it broke, the entire plain where the mighty Cognate army was camped would be swallowed by a freezing flood. Rowan couldn't freeze that much water, and the keep couldn't hold everyone. Their only option were to flee to high grounds on rocks or run for the forest. Aylin's hand shook as panic flickered in her eyes. There was no magic, no truth, no lie that could save the thousands of soldiers below. Allied found the group on the battlements and sensed something was terribly wrong. Aylin finally told her about the dam, and Allied's first instinct was to ask what they could do. Knowing Haviza and the other healers were still on the plane, Sartok immediately mounted his ruck to search for them. Everyone waited anxiously for the rucks to rescue as many as possible, while Kale and his father scrambled to figure out how many could be sheltered in the keep. Allied suddenly realized someone was missing: Lorcan. No one had seen him or heard from him. She knew deep in her bones he wasn't dead, but he could be gravely wounded and alone. Rowan begged Fenris to use his magic to jump into the field, but Fenris just said, "I can't." And when Rowan pressed, Aelin snarled at him to leave it. Allied remembered the oath she had sworn to Lorcan months ago. "I will always find you," and bolted from the keep. Outside, she saw the handlers struggling with the horses. Kale's mare, Farasha, had broken free, and Allied volunteered to catch her. Though the horse was frantic, Allied pleaded for its help, and Farasha stilled and bowed to let her mount. Without hesitation, Allied rode out through the gates and onto the doomed plain.
Shoot.
Allied's like, "I'm gonna go get my man," after I was a fucking bitch to him.
That's how it always goes.
Literally. I was gonna say this earlier, but I wanted to wait till this section to say it. I feel like the same exact thing is happening. Not the same exact thing, but pretty similar situations from Adian and Lysandra to Lorcan and Allied. And I feel like it's so funny because I'm on team Lysandra in that predicament, but I feel like I have switched sides in this one and I'm on team Lorcan now. After what a bitch she was in that section to him.
Yeah.
I'm very conflicted because I feel like that's two opposite ends. Because Allied is the asshole. Well, I guess not, because Allied is the asshole in this situation. And so is Adian. So I guess not
Yeah,
really.
I can understand Allied's grievances more than I can Adian's. I can understand Adian being hurt by not being told, but to let it drag on for this long, to like call her useless and to shove her in the snow like naked and
Yeah.
cold, like
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
exactly.
it's not the same, but the same at the same time.
Yeah. I feel like that definitely was taking it too far, but Allied took it too far too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Just funny. But, both of them idiots realized what they truly wanted, and it just took the other almost dying to get it out of them. So, but we know that they're trying to destroy the dam, as we already discussed, and nothing can really be done except for evacuations. They're going to take as many people as they can in the keep. The rest are going to have to run for the forest or be grabbed by the rooks and taken to higher ground, which is a stressful situation because we have no idea how much time we have left.
Mhm.
Allied realizes that Lorcan is missing, nobody has heard from him, and she mentions that she would know deep in her bones if he wasn't dead. Yeah, you would, because you're definitely his mate, honey. Definitely his mate. But Rowan also begs Fenris here to use his magic to jump into the field, but Fenris is like, I can't. And Aelin is like snarling at him to leave it alone. So I'm like, uh-oh. What did Maeve do to them? Obviously, I know they're super traumatized by the whole experience, but she's got no fire. He has no magic either. I'm like, oh God, what is happening here?
Mm.
What is happening? But Allied gets on Kale's horse, Farasha, who is acting reckless at this time because she's free from the handlers. And it's so crazy that Allied just pleads to her and she just stills and lets her get on her. And they ride into the doomed plain. Tell us what happens, darling.
The last chapter of the night.
Yes.
Chapter 60. Rowan knew his magic could only delay the inevitable collapse of the dam. He considered flying out to try to brace the structure himself, but even he had to admit it was hopeless. The dam would break, nothing could stop it now. He wondered aloud whether Lorcan might still be out there, running, hiding, or perhaps on a ruck. Fenris explained that he had shared his power with Connell and hadn't used his magic since. He wasn't even sure if he could use it anymore. Rowan pointed out that even if Fenris did try to find him, Lorcan could be anywhere. Hazar, blunt as ever, added that Lorcan might already be dead. Kale countered that he could simply just be injured. Aelin said nothing. She hadn't spoken since Nezran and Sartak delivered the news about the dam. This was her worst nightmare, watching people suffer and being powerless to stop it. Gavriel offered to track Lorcan, and Rowan said he would fly ahead to signal him, but Hazar stopped them, saying they were too late. She was already out there, allied. They all knew she would be killed. She was screaming one word over and over across the battlefield: Lorcan! Hazar warned that if any of them went after her, they would die too. Rowan knew she was right. He needed the cadre for the war ahead, and Lorcan would have agreed. Aelin still said nothing as she watched Alide ride across the field. Alide tore through the battlefield, frantic, calling Lorcan's name again and again. Irene whispered a prayer for her, and someone pointed out a strange symmetry of it. Hellas watched over Lorcas, and Anieth, Hellas's consort watched over Alide, and Alide was riding Farasha, Kale's horse, the one he called Hellas's horse. Fate seemed to be guiding all of them.
Aw.
At last, Alide found Lorcan. He was gravely wounded, barely conscious, but she begged him to get up. Somehow they managed to climb onto the horse together, and Alide urged Farasha to fly. Above them, the Rucks waved a gold flag, the signal that the dam was about to break, and Alide prayed the keep would hold long enough for them to reach safety.
Wild.
Keep the gates open, hold the gates. And that's how we end, because we love a cliffhanger.
We do love a cliffhanger. I have predictions here.
Okay.
The Rucks are about to come get the horse off the plane because they are not going to die here.
Mm-hmm.
Lorcan might not survive, but he's not going to die from this water. He's going to die from his wound, if anything. I feel like they might get hit by the water, but they will be taken out of the water. Maybe even by somebody on a rock that usually doesn't go on the rock, like Rowan or Fenris, or I guess Rowan. No, because Rowan, he can shift to a hawk, but he can't shift to a wyvern, can he?
No.
I didn't think so.
Or it could be something else.
There is a lot of god talk in this too, so maybe the gods, shield them or get them through this by fate.
I just want to say something else, but I don't want to lead you to the answer, so.
Okay, we'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah.
I can't wait to continue reading this book, though. I'm obsessed.
I know. It's so good. It's so good.
But that's all we have for you today. Please let us know what you think by leaving us a review and comments on any of the platforms you are listening/watching on, or on our social media pages. This helps tremendously to get the word out and lead more listeners to find our show and tune in. And come join our book club Discord. You can find the link in our bios on Insta and TikTok. And next we are reading The Night Prince by Lauren Palferman, which we are meeting about in April, and The City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards, which we are meeting about in May. Yes. We love chatting with you guys, so don't be shy.
Don't forget to email, follow, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and tell all your friends about us. And we hope the rest of your day is blissful.
Bye!
Thank you so much for listening. Join us next time for Part 5 of Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, featuring chapters 61 through 75. Happy reading!